FIFA is one of the largest corporations in the world and is either known as the worldwide leader in sports and the host of the biggest sporting event in history, or that soccer video game you have. However, it is not very commonly known that it is a very grotesque organization who has been caught for scandals multiple times, including one even this week. In 2014, FIFA hosted the World Cup in Brazil. 909 million people watched as Germany defeated Argentina in the World Cup final. However, despite popular belief, Brazil did not make money from hosting the World Cup. FIFA made a very large percentage of the profits, and Brazil actually ended up losing nearly $1 billion due to the cost of hosting the World Cup.
We've been marching peacefully for just a couple of blocks when this whole scene exploded. Looks like this is how it's going to end tonight, with hundreds of riot police on one side. There's some pretty angry protesters here. Police shot tear gas, protesters threw stones, and we saw them vandalizing a car dealership. A violent end to a day of mostly peaceful protests and likely a sign of more to come.
Today's demonstration is against the World Cup, but we're here in Alemão favela because it represented what's happening in society: expulsion, property speculation, police brutality, and the militarization of public space. They're trying to contain public anger against the World Cup.
Thousands of people have hit the streets across Brazil on Thursday in a series of protests against the World Cup, as well as strikes and marches aimed at a government that people say has spent way too much money on a sporting event and not enough on everything from salaries to hospitals. Now this evening what we've seen are big signs saying FIFA go home. Now this just caps off tons of events around the country. Police strike in Recife, also a World Cup city, that has left the city vulnerable to crime and looting. Here in Sao Paulo, 5,000 teachers took to the streets to ask for higher wages. Now another group demanding lower income housing also blocked main avenues and marched all the way to the Arena Sao Paulo, which is where the inaugural game of the World Cup will be played on June 12, Brazil against Croatia. And they, like everyone here, says they're going to be back out on the streets every week until the end of the World Cup.
Brazil had placed a law outlawing alcohol at their soccer games due to a very high death rate amongst fans. However, due to FIFA's partnership with Budweiser, in 2014 at the World Cup in Brazil, Budweiser was allowed to be served, and some riots ensued after. And the controversy didn't stop there. Many people were very upset with the new location of the 2022 World Cup, Qatar, for many reasons.
But perhaps the worst part of FIFA is not even its past or its present, it's its future. Because the host of the 2022 World Cup has already been decided.
The winner to organize the 2022 FIFA World Cup is Qatar.
Qatar? There's between 1 and 50 reasons why that is an awful idea.
Summer temperatures in Qatar can reach some 50 degrees Celsius, a difficult environment to hold a professional sporting event outdoors.
50 degrees Celsius is 122 degrees Fahrenheit. You are hosting the World Cup somewhere where soccer cannot physically be played. That's like if the NFL chose to host the Super Bowl in a lake. Now, there are now allegations that some FIFA executives took bribes to put the World Cup in Qatar, and I hope that's true, because otherwise it makes literally no sense. And not just because of the weather, but because of the working conditions.
Qatar is a slave state in the 21st century.
A migrant worker can't leave the country without an exit visa. That visa has to be approved by his employer. Who has your passport? So you're trapped here. Yes. We've got coffins coming home every day. More than a worker per day on average is dying.
Conservatively, from the figures of just two countries, India and Nepal, more than 4,000 workers will die before a ball is kicked off in 2022.
So what you're essentially saying is the Qatar World Cup is shaping up to be the most deadly Middle East construction project since this one.
And yet, after all these scandals, history proved to repeat itself again, with FIFA getting caught again this week.
9 FIFA officials and 5 other individuals were arrested. The FIFA officials, many of them were arrested at a hotel in Switzerland where they were gathered ahead of the upcoming presidential elections for FIFA. The charges include a bevy of corruption charges, bribery, racketeering, fraud, and the like. So the U.S. has partnered with several global partners, including Switzerland, to bring about these charges on several individuals. And the reason why the U.S. is involved is because a lot of the allegations of corruption and bribery have allegedly occurred either in the USA, in meetings in the U.S., or via U.S. banks.
Should the sponsors be taking a stronger stance on this?
I think they will. I think over time, as this unwinds, and it looks like it's going to get uglier and uglier, I think you'll increasingly see them start to withdraw. And
we'll see them withdraw?
Oh, I think so. I think this is getting
But what's the incentive? They should have done it, right? I mean, yesterday was the big bang, right?
Yeah, but you're talking about media plans that take years to plan, a lot of unwinding. They don't want to come across. They want to be thoughtful and measured. Also, I think a lot of different sports agencies are looking at the brands, how they're going to respond. So I think it'll be a measured, slow unwinding. But I do think they're going to withdraw from this.
Michael, you agree? Will they withdraw?
I think some will. I'm still disappointed at the neutral stance that some sponsors have taken. But not only sponsors, the media partners of FIFA have not said much at this point. So, look, if an athlete gets in trouble, whether it be a Lance Armstrong or a Tiger Woods or a Ray Rice, they withdraw sponsorship overnight. It seems to me they can make the same sorts of decisions with FIFA. A statement that FIFA has got to improve is not good enough. They got to help FIFA lead the improvement and reform.
Well, okay, so here's one of the responses or statements from another advertiser that was less strong, one of the more muted ones that we found, and it said, the Adidas Group is fully committed to creating a culture that promotes the highest standards of ethics. We can only encourage FIFA to continue to establish and follow transparent compliance standards in everything they do. Why do you think, Michael, that they aren't taking a stronger stance? As you well point out, in other scandals, you saw Nike drop others right away when something happened. Ray Rice saw that as well. So what do you think is behind that?
Dollars. It's about the money aspect of it. It's also a little bit of concern and frustration about what changes FIFA really needs to undertake and how deeply the sponsors want to get involved in making specific suggestions to FIFA on what changes they should take. I mean, at this point, I think my assessment is, having worked on the Independent Governance Committee at FIFA for 2 years, that FIFA needs a change in leadership. It's not about rules and regulations. It's about culture. The values of the organization have been misdirected.